Good night, everybody, and welcome to the Sports for Life podcast. I'm your host, Dylan. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. We really appreciate you tuning in. Today is June the 14th, and it's 1:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Today, we're going to be speaking about the NBA Finals Game 5 postgame. Now, this game was played in San Antonio, and the New York Knicks had a 3-1 lead coming into this game. Now, by the end of last game, Game 4, we had a lot of interesting things happening in New York where eggs were thrown at players from who are on the Spurs, and other kinds of events were taking place post game that game. Now, as you guys know, that was the game where the San Antonio Spurs blew the big lead going into the going towards the end of the game, and they blew it, which was one of the biggest blown leads in NBA history. Now, the San Antonio Spurs, it was expected of them to come back and win this game to go down to being 3-2 in the series. However, that didn't happen. So I'm just going to break down the game for you guys in regards to quarter by quarter what has happened. Also, I'm going to break down a little bit of the players and what I saw, what I observed basically with the players throughout the game and how the game shifted a few times, and then the outcome of the game as well. And then we're going to go from there. So basically, the San Antonio Spurs got off hot in this game, 23-13 by the end of the first quarter. What I saw was the Spurs were making shots. Shots were falling for them. They were being aggressive. They were keeping the Knicks from scoring and holding them back from going off in the first quarter. So 23-13, the Spurs got off to a great start. Overall shooting wasn't too good from either team, to be honest. There was a lot of missed field goals, a lot of missed three-pointers, and the free throw percentage wasn't great either for both teams. So this was another non-exciting shooting game for each team, or scoring game. A lot of missed shots in this game, a lot of wild attempts being thrown up by each team. But in the second quarter, the Knicks outscored the Spurs 24-19. However, at halftime, the San Antonio Spurs still had the lead. Now, going into the third quarter, the Spurs outscored the Knicks 30-28, not by much, but they still outscored them on the scoreboard by 2 points. And that game went to that quarter went through the San Antonio Spurs. Then in the fourth quarter, the Knicks outscored the Spurs 29-18. And then the final of the game was 94-90. The Knicks over the Spurs to win their fourth game of the series, to be 4-1 and being crowned as the new NBA champions of the year 2026. Now, as far as I know, this is the first NBA championship for the New York Knicks since 1973. It's been 53 years since the New York Knicks have won the NBA title, and this is the year where they have done so. So I just wanted to go and say congratulations to the Knicks for that. It's great to see teams that have not been good teams for a long time, or championship contending teams, and then they come back finally and build a squad and take it to the NBA Finals and they win it. It's good to see. I'm proud to see that. I'm not a Knicks fan by any means. Neither am I a Spurs fan. However, to see these two teams going at it, and to see the New York Knicks overcome that long dry spell in deficit, it's a great thing to see, and I'm happy to see that. So congratulations to the Knicks fans, and congratulations to the team of the New York Knicks for their success here in this NBA Finals. Now, going back to the game and just kind of going a little bit in depth in the game in regards to what I saw and what was going on. OG Anunoby did not have a good scoring night tonight. This is probably the first game in the series that he has not performed well. He was 3 for 11 from the floor, 1 for 5 from 3, 4 for 6 from the free throw line. He had 8 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 block, 1 turnover. So doing everything other than scoring, he was good. He was hustling. He was all over the place. He was on the defensive side, on the offensive side. He made an impact. Um, when he had the opportunities to. However, overall, he didn't play good offensively. Karl Anthony Towns had a terrible game. He had 2 points, 1 of 7 from the floor, 0 of 2 from 3. He had 10 rebounds. He had 5 turnovers, 1 assist, 3 steals, 1 block, and 9 defensive rebounds, 1 offensive rebound, total 10 rebounds. So, again, scoring wise, Karl Anthony Towns was non existent. Josh Hart he had 13 points. He had 4 for 11 from the floor, 3 for 6 from 3, 2 for 3 from the free throw line, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, and again, another bad shooting day for another player. He was 3 for 6 from 3, which isn't bad at 50%, but he was 4 for 11 from the floor, which wasn't great at all. Mikal Bridges, 14 points, 5 for 10 from the floor, 3 of 7 from 3, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, no turnovers, no steals, 1 block. And the star player for the New York Knicks was Jalen Brunson, who had 45 points, 14 of 27, 4 of 7 from 3, and 13 of 15 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 2 steals. And a key player to note off the bench for the Knicks team was playing 20 minutes off the bench was Mitchell Robinson, who had 2 points, 1 of 2 for field goals, 0 of 2 from the free throw line, but he had 10 rebounds, 2 assists, and he played 20 minutes. So that some key minutes there for him. The bench as well, like Landry Shamet scored 5 points, 2 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3. Jose Alvarado had 0 points, 0 of 5 from the floor, 0 of 2 from 3. And then Miles McBride was he had no points, and he was 0 of 2 from the floor, 0 of 2 from 3. So honestly here, like when you look at what was contributed by the Knicks, they shot from field goal, they shot 36%. From 3, they shot 32%. From the free throw line, they were 71%. So if you really look at it and you break it down from the Knicks side, it was a horrible shooting night for the Knicks. To be realistic, the Knicks shouldn't have won this game if you look at it. I know Brunson had 45 points and he went off. However, the rest of the team really didn't do anything offensively. Defensively, it was okay for them. They did what they needed to do when they needed to do it, and that's what made the difference here. But honestly, they really didn't play well. Like, usually you had the big three or so, Towns, Anunoby, and Brunson playing really well, and everybody's contributing. But I think Brunson, the reason they won this game, the Knicks, is because Jalen Brunson carried them on his shoulders. He really carried the team, and he continued to be resilient, especially in the fourth quarter, where we saw him basically put the team on his shoulders and really carry them to the finish line. There was 2 points in this game where the Knicks were down by 16 points each. They were down in the first half by 16 points, and then they were down in the third quarter by 16 points. And by the end of the third quarter, they rallied back in the fourth to come back and win the game. So this is the third time in the series that the Knicks rally back in the fourth quarter to win the game and edge the Spurs. We had, I believe, I'm sorry, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it might be game 2, game 4, and then now game 5. I believe so. I could be wrong on which games. However, I do know there was 3 games that they came back and they basically edged the Spurs in the fourth to win the game and move on. So the Spurs, as I said before, they overall didn't sustain when they had to. There was a lot of lapses when, you know, coaching wise as well, there should have been adjustments made at certain times. And I do feel that that's where the Knicks overall had the edge over the Spurs. Like they were just more clicking more than the Spurs were more often, and they knew when the crunch time came what they needed to do. They knew when the second half came and the fourth quarter came what they needed to do, and they did it every time, right? Whatever the coaches were telling the Knicks and whatever the team, discussions were during those times, it worked. Whoever was the leader, locker room leader, and whoever was gathering the troops and getting them ready to go in the third quarter and fourth quarter, especially, kudos to them for the Knicks because they really did what they needed to do. The San Antonio Spurs, they did not shoot the ball well. They shot 38% from the floor, 32% from three. They were 12 of 37 from three. That's absolutely atrocious. And even the Knicks were 12 of 37 from three. So, like I said, very bad shooting day for the teams. But it was sad to see the Spurs continuing to jack shots up, being in the position that they were, continuing to do that instead of being aggressive, especially since it was the elimination game. So looking at the stats and seeing what transpired there, it's really poor coaching from the Spurs, and I do believe that having the coach they have being a rookie coach, the moment was too big for him. He didn't make the correct adjustments and didn't get the team together, didn't put the right lineups in to help the Spurs maintain and finish strong. They allowed too much Knicks star power in crunch time. They did not make the correct adjustments, and they let Brunson go off. And he's smart. He took advantage of it. And the Knicks were smart. They took advantage of it. And that's why they were able to come back and edge over it and continue to win. I would have loved to see OKC play the Knicks. I think that would have been a very interesting matchup over the Spurs. But it is what it is, and it could have OKC could beat the Knicks. If you ask me who can win between the Knicks and OKC, that is a very tight one to call, because OKC is very well balanced, and I think that they just were outplayed by the Spurs. But it's sad to see that the Spurs did not bring that game to this series. They really looked disgruntled. They really looked out of sort. And it was sad to see that they really didn't have the energy. It wasn't consistent from them. They didn't do what they needed to do, and it's sad to see that the Spurs were kind of they looked a little bit lost out there. They looked a little bit confused. They weren't aggressive enough when they should have been. They didn't keep consistency. And it shows because you follow up the last game, which was game 4. Okay? And if you look at my previous video that I released, the Spurs, in the second half of that game, after being up by like 30 something points, 30 plus points, let's say, for most of the game, they came out in the second half. They shot 8 threes in a row, and they missed all 8 threes, the Spurs, which allowed the Knicks the advantage to go down the floor and score field goals and get themselves back into the game, right? And they did that in game 4. So again, why the coaching staff for the Spurs, why didn't they make the correct adjustments in that game 4, knowing you have such a big lead, and they let them blow that lead and let the Knicks come back and win and edge by 1 point? It's the NBA Finals. You can't make silly mistakes like that as a coaching staff when it comes to your team and have them be so reckless. You have a 30-something point lead. Yes, you got there by making those shots, hitting those shots, and getting hot. However, shooting is something that's streaky. Being a former basketball player that I was years ago, playing basketball and understanding, my abilities as a player, shooting is something that I was known for. Shooting the ball, shooting threes, shooting jump shots, scoring, being aggressive like that, getting hot, scoring. However, you can be very streaky when it comes to shooting. You can start off hot, you can start off very, you can't miss. And then after you take a break, or after come off the floor for a bit and come back in, you're ice cold, and it can happen. So to see the San Antonio Spurs do that in the last game 4, where they really let the game slip, and then coming into this game, going back and forth, starting off hot, the tempo started to kind of shift in the second. They got back the tempo in the third, and then in the fourth, they let it go again. It's basically what I mean by streaky shooting. Being a team that's heavily reliant on jump shooting and heavily reliant on swinging the ball and shooting, it doesn't mean that that's the way that you need to play as a team. Because if you're not making shots, you're going to be hurting yourself, basically shooting yourself in the foot there. And that's what happened in this game. The Spurs came out again this game, just like they did in the second half of last game, shooting the ball. Now, they got up early, 23-13. The Knicks weren't playing well. Their shooting was absolutely atrocious in the first quarter. However, you continued to do that. You continued to jack up the shots and shoot the ball. And yes, you made some shots, but however, you didn't make a lot of them, and you didn't make all of them. So 12 of 37 from the floor, 32% from 3. It's nothing to be proud of. What's up, Woodsy? Thanks for joining the live. Appreciate it. And you can't come out after what happened in game 4, and you come out in game 5, and you just continue to just shoot the ball, you're not making shots, you're not making enough shots, but you continue to shoot the ball. And they did that here. They shot 38% from the floor, 32% from 3, 67% from the free throw line. You can't win games in the NBA Finals playing like that. Now, the Knicks weren't any better. They were 36% from the floor, 32% from 3 as well, and 71% from the free throw line. However, the difference is the New York Knicks knew when to turn the stove on and when to turn it off. They turned it on in the fourth quarter, got themselves back into the game, and if you watch the highlights of the game, you will see Jalen Brunson continuing to be aggressive and Jalen Brunson continuing to attack the basket, multiple times. And they knew exactly when to attack the Spurs and where to attack the Spurs. Because if you look at the highlights and you see Wembanyama was on the bench, Jalen Brunson was attacking the basket. He had the ball. He's isolating with his player one-on-one, and he's going straight at him and attacking the basket. And you're seeing him do it 3-4 times in a row. And he's scoring because there's no rim protection. Wembanyama's not on the floor. He doesn't have to worry about shot blocking in the paint. And also, he is able to do that and get his team back into the game. So he knew when they calculated and knew when the opportunities were there, what they needed to do. And that's why I think that this is a Spurs disaster and a New York Knicks master plan. I saw and I knew, basically, once I saw what matchups were on the floor, I knew exactly what was going to take place. I knew what was going to happen. And I saw the Knicks basically take advantage and dissect the Spurs to beat them in this game, right? Here's a chart from ESPN. It's just some statistics from the game, basically, what I pulled up. So here you can see the score here and basically what happened from each player that played. See, you can see the inefficiency from the starting lineup of the New York Knicks. Now, Bridges 14 points, Hart 13, Towns 2, Anunoby 11. But if you look at their field goals and you see, it's not impressive at all. Like it's a big concern here, right? Look at this. 5 for 10, 3 of 7. Okay, I can live with this by Bridges. Josh Hart, the 3 of 6. Okay, I can live with that. But he did rebound the ball well, and he did a lot of the other things that he needed to do. Towns, 10 rebounds. Okay, he's on the glass. He's trying to do his thing. Great. However, scoring wise, absolutely atrocious, and he got fouled out as well. His personal fouls, he had 6. He got fouled out, and then Mitch Robinson had to come in the game, and he grabbed 10 rebounds as well. So, and he had 6 offensive rebounds, which is important to note. That's a huge boost for this Knicks team. And Anunoby didn't play well. And Brunson went off. Brunson, he stole the game. Scored 45 points in the game. Led the team by far. No one else did anything compared to him when it came to scoring the ball. And then you got the other side, which is the Spurs. Wemby had 19 points. He was 7 of 19 from the floor. Again, another bad shooting day for Wemby. He had 14 rebounds, which he was more active on. He had 5 blocks, which he was defensively more active on. I saw Wemby in the paint a lot. I saw him, doing the Anthony Davis thing that I was talking about, where the 5 guards this guy, lets this guy kind of leak, steps kind of in the painted area to intimidate players so they won't come in and try to score on him. And I saw him blocking shots, and I saw him active. And he did as much as he could from that point of view. However, offensively, he was 1 of 6 from 3, as you can see here. And then he was 7 of 19 from the floor, which is not good at all. So, he didn't do enough offensively to help his team. And I think in the fourth quarter, again, seeing 19 field goals, I'm not happy with that. Like, Jalen Brunson had 27 field goals, right? So you're the star player. You see, you had 19, Fox had 15. Like, it shouldn't be like that. He needs to have 20 plus field goals a game, every game. Attempts, Wemby. Cannot be 15, 16, 17, 19, whatever. It's got to be 20 plus a game. He's got to get the ball. They got to feed him when he's on the floor. They got to, make some shots, look for him, get him going. They need to do a better job of that. He needs to command the ball. He needs to be more dominant. He needs to be better from 3, and this needs to go up. He needs to be averaging at least 10 threes a game, I think, because he's a great shooter. He's a great scorer. However, he just had a bad game, and it's unfortunate to see that he wasn't able to help carry his team to the end of the game. So, Stephen Castle had a horrible game. But luckily, Dylan Harper came in and he had a great game. And the coach did a good job of riding Dylan Harper as he had 31 minutes this game, which is great. He saw the hot hand, fed him the ball, give him his minutes, let him play. So Stephen Castle only had 6 points. He is 1 of 10 from the floor, 0 of 3 from 3. Absolutely the wrong time to have that kind of game, because it's a letdown. It's a huge letdown. Champagne had 4 for 8 from 3. He made his 4th 3 in the third quarter, basically halfway through the third. After that, he didn't make a 3. So again, he disappeared again in the fourth quarter. De'Aaron Fox had a bad game. He's one of my guys. He, 37 minutes, 3 of 15 from the floor, 1 of 8 from 3. You can't have that. You cannot have that. This is your 1-2 punch right here. Fox and Victor Wembanyama. And those 2 players, field goals wise, it wasn't enough. 3 point, 2 only made. It's not, surprisingly the score was this, because I feel like had the Spurs had a better shooting night from 3 and were a little bit more efficient from field goals, it would have been a difference maker, right? So for them, it's just another poor shooting day for the Spurs. I don't know what happened to them this series. The Knicks defense was great. Like, it was good, but it wasn't amazing. They weren't a lockdown defensive team. I saw a lot of swinging the ball and shots going up, and the Knicks weren't really responding that well defensively. And somehow they're still not making shots. So, Devin Vassell, he was okay. But again, 8 field goal attempts all game, 10 field goal attempts, 8 field goal attempts. Only for Champagny, 9 field goal attempts. You can't have that. These guys got to get more shots up. I understand Dylan Harper had a lot and he was going early, but this is not a winning formula here when it comes to shooting the ball and scoring, right? So, another blown lead for the Spurs in the fourth. The Knicks came back. Jalen Brunson led the way. He got hot again, just like he did in game 4, and just like he did in game 2 when he carried them in the fourth. And that's the pattern that I saw. Jalen Brunson continuing to push these guys when it's needed, when it has to happen. Third quarter comes on, then you start seeing, them come alive. You start seeing the energy change, the flow change. Spurs continue to shoot the ball, jack shots up, continue to miss shots, and then you start seeing the Knicks scoring. So, and then you can just see the momentum shifting there. And, the Spurs really let themselves down multiple times, and this was another game they let themselves down, and they showed that they didn't deserve to be there. They weren't ready for this moment, and I hope Wembanyama learns from it. It's an experience that this whole young team, is gonna have to carry on their shoulders. But the Knicks were the better team on paper. The Knicks were performing as the better team. They showed more energy, more hustle. They showed that they deserve to be here, and I'm proud of them. Congratulations to them. They earned it. They definitely earned it by outplaying the Spurs when they needed to. It wasn't pretty overall. It wasn't a overall super exciting series, but seeing the Knicks come back from being down, that was exciting, and then seeing them show up when they needed to win, and they showed that they were the hungrier team. They showed that they deserved it. So again, congratulations to them, and hopefully the Spurs next year is pretty much one of the final years of the Wembanyama window before he goes into a big contract. So hopefully, that something transpires from that where they can put a better team around him, adjust the team accordingly, and be back next year. We'll see. So, but the Knicks again, they deserved it. Congratulations to them. They are the 2026 NBA Finals, winning the series 4-1. And that's pretty impressive. Knicks fans all over the place are ecstatic right now. Ecstatic, sorry. And they are celebrating right now. New York is going wild right now. I just wanted to say as well to the Knicks fans and team, I hope that there's nothing going on that's crazy against the Spurs, burning jerseys or beating up Spurs fans again or anything like that. I hope that all that stuff isn't going to resurface and start happening again. I hope that the NYPD take it seriously and they catch people that are doing these things and take the appropriate action against them, because that's not how you celebrate something that's special to you. You don't go out and insult people. A wake-up call for the Knicks is that the last time they won the championship was 53 years. 1973. So, they should just appreciate the moment. They should be thankful for it, celebrate it, be good to the people, show the people love, appreciation, and continue to just be positive, embrace the moment, enjoy being the champions this year, come out next year ready to defend the crown, and hopefully that they can sustain and continue to succeed, right? They have their window still. I think they have a 3-year window until they have to retool the team. And, the Spurs, like I said in the last video, They got to make some adjustments. There's a lot of contracts that they have to take off the table and retool the team accordingly. And they got the core already set up, but the window is closing a little bit on that core when it comes to their contracts. So they got to basically plan accordingly for the future. So we'll see what happens with both of the teams. I'll be following these two teams closely to see the changes that come in the following season. For now, the New York Knicks are the champs. Congratulations to them. And that is the coverage for the NBA Finals. My predictions were pretty accurate for the most part. I did think the Spurs would win. They should have won this game. They should have won the last game. The series should have been tied 2-2, and they should have been going to, it should have it should have been tied 2-2, and then it should have been going from. It should have gone It should have gone 7 games, but again, the Spurs letdowns 3 times basically cost them those 3 games where they should have won. And this one, the last game, and then this game too. So things happen. That's sports, everybody. And, it's a wrap up for this NBA season. We're excited to tune in for more Sports for Life podcast coverage for the NBA coming up for the next season. We're also excited for the NFL to be starting up soon and to cover that. And we'll go from there. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Sports for Life podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure covering the NBA Finals for you guys. Doing the reviews, covering the NBA Finals for you guys, doing the reviews, and basically, breaking down all the games, going through each game one by one, giving the predictions, and then also looking at what the results were. It's been fun. It's been great, guys. And, we are going to wrap this one up and congratulate the Knicks on their success. Wish them the very best for the coming season in defending their crown. Like I said, they have a solid team, great guys on that team. And they play hard, they play well. Coaching staff was excellent for them. Bringing in a veteran coach that they did and retooling the team accordingly and getting that production from everybody. So good on them. And thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Sports for Life podcast. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe to our page, and continue to follow all the new sports updates for the NBA, NFL, and other sports as well. We are going to wrap this one up. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for tuning in, liking the video, sharing the videos, and going through all of the breakdowns that we have provided you guys. And we're excited to continue to provide updates on other sports as well and continuing to support the channel. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and we will tune into the next video.